Well, we are brave, bold, and crazy today because we are live on 3 different platforms on Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. And all of this will, within 24 hours, also be on the podcast on iTunes. So I hope this is good because it was 10 minutes late, almost 15 minutes late, thanks to Twitter losing my login password, and I had to go through the process of relogging in. Isn't it amazing how convenient technology isn't sometimes? So I have a question for you, and it's a question that hit me. Those of you on Facebook are seeing it already in the post, in the text. But as I was thinking and praying this morning about what God's doing in the next season, what's coming up for us, there are some things that I can see. And, I see the pieces coming together that we've labored on for years and years, elements that, we thought we had them figured out, but little by little more has been revealed of what the opportunity looks like, what the opportunity could be, what the responsibility would be. And the real irony in all of it is that as I was praying this morning, God just asked me, why is it so little? Why is it so little? Now, I've talked many times, it's a John Maxwell philosophy, or that's at least the first place that I heard it, that if your dream's not big enough to scare you, if your dream's not big enough to stretch you, to grow you, to demand of you more than what you're comfortable with, then your dream really isn't big enough at all. He also says, though, that if you can accomplish your dream alone, it's not big enough. But in order for your dream to be big enough to attract a team, it has to be big enough to demand a team. So I've heard that philosophy many, many times, and I thought, it just doesn't really compel me just yet, because the things that I feel like God's told me to do are, they're individual assignments. They're things that I am supposed to do, things that I have to get done, tasks that, they demand my attention. They demand my hands-on. And so as I look at those individual tasks, I'm now beginning to wonder if each of those tasks was the completion of a puzzle piece. And that there's some even bigger than what I've ever seen vision. And even bigger than what I've ever dreamed idea. I got to see Mark Batterson again last night as he taught at Gateway, and one of the things that he reminded us of, and I read it in his book, Chase the Lion, he said, when we had been 18 months in our little church and we didn't even have enough budget to pay for our regular bills, we were living on the operating budget of the church and about $400 a month to feed our family. And I was leading worship myself, and he said, the only thing I do worse than sing is keep rhythm. And I realized, God, we need a drummer. We need a drummer. Any drummer will be better than what we got right now, which is no drummer. And he said, I prayed for months and months and months for God to send a drummer, and finally God said, well, where's the drum set? I find myself asking that same question this morning. He went on to tell how the story unfolded, and he sacrificed his monthly income from his family's budget, and he bought a drum kit, and he brought it to the church, and he set it up, and the next Sunday a guy walked in the door and went, interested in being your drummer. Turns out he's from among the elite drum corps in the world, people who played for the president on many occasions, many different presidents. And he said, this guy just came in and said, I feel like I'm supposed to be here, and I'd like to play drums for you. But that guy, that resource didn't show up. Yes? Again, well, check that little camera there at the top, the phone on the back, and see if it says live in public, because Facebook is messing with me again. What does it say?
Nothing. It says finished in the corner, but it does not say live.
Okay, so tap on the screen and see if anything comes up, because it's telling us right now that it's recording, and it is actually recording. So Facebook, you're awesome. Don't hit the finish button. It just means I'm going to have to go back and post it live again later. YouTube, I'm glad you are faithful, because Facebook is horrible.
It says live, but it didn't.
Yeah, it says live and nobody can see it. Well, that's what it did to me the other day. It said that I was live. It says that it's going to the public. It says it's also going to the story and to my timeline, and nobody in the world can see it. And that is so Horrible. Thank you, Facebook, for being an unfaithful friend. How horrible. Periscope, I saw one person log on there. I have about 3,000 followers on Twitter. I would think that maybe there would be more than one who would watch, but we'll see. And if Facebook is going to continue this silliness, then I will spend my advertising dollars elsewhere. Sure will. Yeah. I'm sure glad that it's still going to the YouTube channel and to Periscope. But how disappointing for Facebook. Their lack of professionalism is amazing. As I was saying, though, there are times that what your assignment is, what your dream is, what your calling is, what you're supposed to be doing, those things are way beyond the scope of your imagination. And it's easy to get caught up in what the daily detail is, what it is that you're supposed to be doing. It's easy to get caught up in those tasks and lose sight of the big picture. It's also very easy to get caught up in the big picture and lose sight of the tasks that have to happen. It's almost as if that balance, that tension between the doer who gets things done and the dreamer who sees what the big picture should be, that tension between them is critical. Because if you're just the big picture dreamer, who's going to do the tasks? Who's going to do the daily work? I was talking with a pastor last night, and I said, we've got 4 books coming out this month, and they're like, wow, that's impressive. I'm like, well, that's only a smidgen of the work that needs to be done. But it's about 10 grand to get done what I want to get done, and that is that each of the books would also be an online course. Each of the books would also have its own webinar and seminar series to give people an opportunity to decide, is this a course that I want to study? And each of those is also a keynote speech, and each of those is also a book, and each of those will also be an audio book. And all of that is great content that could really change and transform lives. But the tasks to get each of those done either cost tens of thousands of dollars or it costs a lot of labor. And so for me right now, without tens of thousands of dollars to invest there, it means that I have a lot of labor to do. I have to create an online course for each of those. I have to divvy up the content into a way that people can consume the content and be transformed by the content. And I have to do it for 4 different books. And one of those is over 250 pages. One of those is just over 200 pages. One is about 100 pages, and one's about 75 pages. But all of that content has to be divvied up. It has to be parsed out. It has to be edited in a different way. It has to be presented in a different way. And so when God asked me, is your dream bigger than what you can do? I think to myself, like, as I look at the big picture, what I see is a bunch of little tiny puzzle pieces for now. I'm not sure what the grand scheme looks like when it's all done, when each of the online courses is completed, when the whole picture begins to come together. I don't know what that'll look like. I'm sure it will be impressive, even though I don't know how to put it together because I don't have the box. Do you find yourself in that same position from time to time, that you know that the task you're doing right now is exactly the task you're supposed to be doing, that you're following on course with right where you're supposed to be? And yet what you're doing isn't big enough to draw in other people. The vision hasn't been articulated in a way that other people go, wow, I just want to be a part of that. And maybe they're looking for multiple millions of dollars to one day flow into their pocket, or maybe they're looking for a major impact and influence opportunity to be a part of something bigger that they haven't dreamed up, or maybe they just look at it and go, I like the investment opportunity emotionally and psychologically and intellectually, and I like even where you're going with this project. I like the people that it's going to impact. Is your project big enough to draw other people in? Has it created a vacuum of need and demand for others to go, I want to be a part of that. I want to be in on it. If that's the case, then keep charging forward. But if you find yourself like me, so busy with all the tasks around, which is right where I'm at right now, today, I have to rebuild at least 2 of the websites that we've had for a long time because they're about to go to the next level. And at the next level, what we have isn't adequate. It's got to be stepped up a little bit. At the same time, I've got a couple of keynote speeches to write for a training in Washington and a training in Colorado that I've done the content many times before, but I need to massage it and rewrite it for this specific audience, for this specific time, exactly the way it's supposed to be written. And then, like I said, for each of those 4 books, I also have to write the online course. I also have to do the graphics for those. I need an ebook for a lead capture so that I know which one of those 4 books people are interested in. And all of that work right now either will be tens of thousands of dollars for someone else to do it for me, or lots and lots of hours for me to get it done. Do you find yourself there? Do you find yourself working so busy in your business, serving your clients, doing the things that you're supposed to be doing on the outside, that none of that work gets done? What are the odds any of it will go to the next level if none of that work gets done? If the tens of thousands of dollars don't flow in right away? If, like many people who are entrepreneurs or solopreneurs or small business people, the work depends on you to get it done, at least to the next level. And then maybe at the next level, help comes. Is there a chance you're even more like me in that the vision that you have in your head is pretty elaborate? All the pieces of the puzzle that come together are well developed. The expression of what this one day will be, though, hasn't been expressed in a big enough way that people would feel the need to be drawn to it, to be a part of it, to be a part of something bigger than themselves. There's a little project that I've been a part of for 5 years now. A little project called Trojan Talk. I say little project almost tongue-in-cheek because this is a little project that was actually someone's doctoral dissertation almost 20 years ago. And when Dr. Becky Ewart came up with the idea of Trojan Talk to bring people from the community into the school to mentor with the high school students who may or may not have a father figure in their life, they may or may not have a business person in their life that is an outside influence. And so the Trojan Talk program was born to provide insights and ideas and inspiration to high school students on what life would be like after school. And the program has a curriculum development tool element to it. It has an opportunity to share ideas and bounce them off of students and teachers alike and get some feedback on it. It has the opportunity to be engaged in young people's lives in a way that very few opportunities afford. But I do know this: every year at the Trojan Talk breakfast, there will be hundreds of mentors matched up with hundreds of teachers who will partner up over the next year and sometimes several years to work together to influence these students in the classroom about what life will be like when school is done. That's a project that almost 20 years ago took on a life of its own, and it draws in hundreds of volunteers every year, thousands, if not tens of thousands of volunteer hours into the school district because the project is worthy, because the students are worthwhile, because the opportunity to serve is huge. Nobody gets paid. They don't do it for that. It's not about being hired on. It's about being a part of something bigger than yourself. Is your vision, is your business development, is your next phase, is it all wrapped up in something so small that no one can see their place in it? Or is it a project big enough that it, like Trojan Talk, creates a vacuum where hundreds of people can come along and be a part, where people can plug in and say, wow, I really want to have a chance to do that? Because if that's the case, then you're going to find people flocking to the opportunity to serve alongside you to do what it is that you're doing. And I'm saddened to even now realize that I obviously haven't articulated what's next for us clearly enough for people to gather around and go, I want to be a part of that. I want to be in on what you're doing because I want to see the impact. And I'm willing to invest my time and invest my volunteer hours and invest my talents in seeing it become a success. I don't know what it looks like just yet. I haven't drawn the picture. I haven't even seen the outside of the puzzle box, to be honest with you. I feel like somebody ripped the paper off of it and gave me a box with no picture, just a bunch of pieces. As it's coming together, though, I want to clearly articulate that to you. I want to share it with you so that if you feel inspired to say, wow, I love what that big picture looks like. I love that long-term goal, and I really do want to invest myself in it. Right? Pray for us. Financially invest in us. There are a couple of GoFundMe pages that are set up. That both of them are very specific. One is about the money that we spend on online advertising, Facebook, YouTube, Google AdWords, etc., to spread these leadership programs across the globe. There are a lot of people who watch on Tell It Like It Is .tv. There are a lot of people who watch on the Tell It Like It Is TV Facebook fan page. There are a lot of people that watch on my profile when Facebook allows it to go live on my profile, which is sad. yet again. There are a lot of people who watch on the iTunes podcast, but there are probably 30 to 35% of the people who watch on all of these platforms that are not even in the continental United States. They're in Pakistan, they're in Ghana, they're in Brazil, they're in Belize, they're in the Congo, they're in Belgium. And I love having the opportunity to impact their lives. So there's a GoFundMe link that you'll see on our YouTube page. It's the only place that we publish it. But in the description of the YouTube, sometimes that'll show up on the Tell It Like It Is broadcast as well. In that description, you can click on the GoFundMe for global leadership. And it's not big donations, it's just little stuff, $5, $10 at a time, because that's what funds the budget where we actually pay for the Google AdWords and the Facebook ads so these videos can be distributed globally. That's all it does. From time to time, we'll be asked to go and present this same content in a live event. I've been invited to Nigeria a couple of different times, and the budget just wasn't there. They didn't have the money to pay me to go, and I don't have the money to go. So if that fund ever got big enough, it would probably cover costs like that. The Transforming Grace is about protecting marriages from things like pornography and other addictions, because that's Karen and I's story. And when we have the opportunity to do that, we really enjoy that. We interview couples who have struggled and overcome. We have written, both Karen and I have written books on the topic about what it was like to be an addict and what it was like to live with one and what overcoming looks like. Last Sunday was 23 years for us. And so there's 10 to 12 years worth of history of seeing overcome happen. There's a GoFundMe link on there to help save marriages around the world. We've been invited to go to Brazil. Again, it wasn't in their budget. It's not yet in our budget, but hopefully one day we'll have a chance to take the Transforming Grace message to Brazil, to the churches there in Pelotas. If you want to get involved, that's a great way. If you're a graphic designer, if you're an editor, if you've done an online course and you'd like to donate your time to be a part of that, we're not a charity. We're not a 501c3. We're a small, struggling shoestring business. That's what we are. But if you'd like to get involved and contribute your talents, we would love to have them. We would love to have you to be a part of us making an impact around the world. There's always something else that can be done. Proofreading, transcribing, watching these old videos and helping me to edit them down to something broadcast worthy. All of those campaigns are worth your time, I believe, the impact that they can have around the world. And I would love to have more of a team. I just don't have a budget for a team. Do I have a vision for a team? Do I have enough of a project in mind? Can I make enough of an influence and impact that your help would be well invested? Let me get back to you on that. I believe I do. I don't believe I've articulated it well enough for anybody else to feel inspired to do it. So I'm going to throw that same question back on you. Is your vision big enough and clearly enough articulated that other people want to join in and they feel like what they contribute will be time, will be effort, will be energy, will be talent, will be resources well invested in the future of transformation in the world? If that's the case, probably have volunteers beating your door down. If it's not well articulated, you're probably like me and you're currently doing a lot of work on your own. That does not mean your vision is not worthy. It just means you haven't told enough people the right way yet. Keep working on that. I'm J Loren Norris, and you've been watching Tell It Like It Is TV. I'd love it if you subscribed. Facebook, I don't know what to do with you. YouTube, you can subscribe right there on the YouTube channel. You can even go to the iTunes podcast. The link is in the YouTube description. Click on that. It will set it up that every 24 hours it will show up. If you're on Excellent Life Leadership on the right side on the website, you'll actually see a button that says sign up here. You can put in your email address and your name there and get on a list. Every Thursday it will send an entire recap of all the videos that we've done through the course of the week. In fact, those who are on that subscribers list will get that today. There's about 2,000 people on that list. It will land in your inbox, just links, not a bunch of junk to fill up your inbox. It's just 5 links last Friday through this Thursday's videos that have been recorded and stored. It's the same stuff that's on iTunes. It's the same stuff if you're subscribed on YouTube. It's the same stuff if you're subscribed on Facebook. The difference is when it comes in your inbox, there may be other special offers, notifications of books that come out, and things of that nature that are also attached to that email. But I don't do a lot of soliciting. I'm not a high-pressure sales guy. I really just want to be able to put content in your hands. So if this is valuable to you, subscribe on any of those platforms, Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, podcast, or go to Excellent Life Leadership and sign up to receive the emails of any events, any offers, anything that we do, because that's where it's going to come from. I appreciate you being a part of my day to day, and I appreciate you letting me be a part of yours. Stay blessed. I don't know how to stop the Periscope now.